Welcome to Upside DIY. So I got these lenses. They're anti-glare driving glasses. So I picked these up, and they're really useful for actually watching TV. So if you want to, they take out pretty much what they did for me over the 2025 holidays was I was watching a movie and basically it sharpened the image. So these are some yellow lenses. I just kind of found these in my stuff. I've got other glasses there. So other different pair if things aren't, but I thought the nice yellow or green. This is more of a light green, but if you have some they're not anti-glare driving glasses, and I kind of found them inside of this. Got to clean up. I took out a lot of stuff, basically put it into a box. And these are the ones I tested. These are the actual anti-glare. They seem cheap, but they're really good for like a TV. If you're watching like a movie or a DVD, they they sharpen the image. They take out all the glare from the light or maybe a lot of stuff. I've got some dental stuff right here. So what I'm going to try to do is make a video about these new I got these on my last order, these new mouth guards. They're actually mouth guards. I bought like 20 of these, really nice. Worst comes to worst, you could try to make your own with these rubber. I need to kind of get one for an example, but I got a bunch of those, and these are only from myself, personal. Emphasize on having some type of graph paper, which makes everything, basically, uh, you know, it keeps everything a little bit more in perspective on the dimensions when dealing with a few with things that epoxy straight to this tray. Well, first you gotta heat it up, and so I have already heated one up. You can kind of see the difference and what the heating up does. So I got this right here, this brand new one. It starts to soften the rubber. This is really soft rubber, I think. If if I'm going to be using 3 guards, a mirror, I'm going to be using a stove, frying pan, put some water in the frying pan. And I'm just going to heat up the rubber. It's basically rubber, and then make the first part. And then eventually I'm going to use plastic wrap. And so turning on the stove just to warm up the stove, and then have a mirror and just start to warm these up. Maybe something to take them out. Yeah, so it's going to be a 3D print. So once this water gets warmed up to the right temperature, it's going to soften the rubber. So I just put one in just to start off, but once it starts to warm up, it's going to get soft, and then I could do the other two. So just while the water is getting warm, I already tried it a little bit, and you could already see where the teeth marks are. So it's good to, just dip it in for maybe 5 seconds, and then just start to try to mold this. And also there's a center alignment, so yeah, it doesn't have to be exact. Eventually, as the water warms up, but just knowing where the teeth marks, where the missing teeth are, is good enough. So that's perfect. So the second one, I mean, just getting the rubber soft enough, and I turned off the stove. When the water gets to really boil, you could turn off the stove. But just having different samples. So this is the third one. So So I could basically see that this one molds a lot better, different. I might go back for this one. But I'm just going to keep that and then just do the third one. So, and it's got the same teeth line. So I'm just going to let this cool down. It does, so yeah, depending on the heat of the water and stuff, the rubber is going to really, start to soft. At this point is to pick out, they've dried, and then clean it with rubbing alcohol. So some of the teeth are a little bit, at the very edge. I'm going to pick out the middle one since it's not as warped as other two, and then just basically use some rubbing alcohol. And then I've got a piece of plastic prepped up right here. And then I'm going to use that 5-minute epoxy. So I cleaned off the tray, and then now I lay the plastic. So instead I got this cardboard box. I could use any useful flat surface, I think. A dish, a kitchen dish, or anything that's as flat as the plastic. Then I lay the mouth guard on the plastic, so it's actually a really nice piece of plastic, and the surface is flat, so I could work with it better. So I'm putting it on top of everything, and now I've just got to get the epoxy ready. I can actually handle the would actually support a lot more and things like that. And it should be a comfortable fit. I shouldn't worry too much. I already tried to make a denture with the false teeth or the crowns, and there were certain, it wasn't that comfortable. So that's why I'm kind of forced to make one with just pure epoxy, and then just try to recover. As I use pretty much double-sided tape. I use crazy glue. Got some crazy glue there, and then I use epoxy and stuff, and these false teeth. So these false teeth are still useful. I've got quite a few of them, but I'm going to have to make a jig or something, maybe out of glue, out of clay, hold the teeth in place, and then wrap some wire and things like that to help experiment with that. Mix up this epoxy and then fold the plastic and make an impression. So right here I'm mixing up the epoxy. Alright, so I had it and I made the impression. It was a lot more comfortable than having these false crowns. And also, just trying to work fast with the epoxy and stuff. I still have leftovers. So you can kind of see I smeared it, as much on the inside of the tray. So it's making a good impression. And at the very end, I use I pretty much put the epoxy where the missing teeth are, in a puddle, So right now I'm kind of putting it back and forth to get it to, just finish up. And I can start feeling the whole piece harden up. I'm going to have to rinse it off. And so it's starting to harden and things like that. I'm letting things, clear up for the next. And there's going to be some spots, so I'm going to have to deal with that. But it's a lot more solid all the way around where the rubber and things are. It's added a lot more comfort, a little bit, like probably twice as much grip compared to the original product. So it's added a lot of grip to certain crevices. So I'm almost there. I cleaned off the plastic tray. I could kind of use it to unwrap. I kind of see some epoxy that overflowed a little bit in some areas, but that might have to stay on or whatever, or I could grind it off. Same thing with this, just a larger gap, I would think, that it's filling in. And the thing is, this is just for home personal use, for emergencies and things like that. But I can kind of see where the missing teeth and other spots and things. So it's definitely worth a DIY project just because I've been trying to do something. Uh, there's going to be partials, there's going to be implants that are a lot more. It's a similar process, but it's going to take different items and so I got some of the store veneers. It's going to basically be a whole different skill. Basically have to drill, have to glue, and touch up and just install and things. But the first, it's basically the guard, and then there's going to be denture, there's going to be partials, there's going to be implants. So there's 4 different ways to fix false teeth. But I add the epoxy on the outside, and I'm gonna just get everything sealed up as much as possible, and then put it on the plastic and bite down, things like that. It's already pretty solid. It's just when I try to use this, it's not going to have plastic on it and things like that. I don't want it to come undone and things, so I'm going to just get a piece of plastic. I'm going to try to coat it as much as possible, and then yeah, so mixing up the epoxy, glue, and then coating it, and then wrapping it. So I've got it in my mouth right now. Rinsing it off initially. I should be comfortable for a few tests and things like that for it to work. So kind of stay tuned, I think. So now I just have to kind of pry it off as much as get some oxygen and letting things dry up. So the cloth or the t-shirt. So just drying off the bottom plastic, so I could trim off as much plastic from the bottom. Alright, so I trimmed off this piece of plastic. Probably keep drying it. So we're gonna keep drying it, and then finally, I probably, and hopefully everything dries up. So basically, holding the hair dryer and keeping it on, and then peeling off the plastic is also a good method or way. So this is fully taken off. It's just still a little bit soft compared to anything really solid. It may not have worked. It all depends. But this is pretty much the completed piece. The thing is, letting it dry is not cosmetic at all. So it's going to be a tough one. Eventually, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, but it's all sealed up for a minute. I might have to sand it, might have to just get everything smoothened out. What I have and what I also need to do, and things like that to actually, yeah, I definitely can use some more like clear epoxy on the outside. So I might just have barely enough for the next, part of this. Just doing mainly just the rough, or just the sides. Just trying to get it as sealed up, basically, is what I'm doing. Mainly the inner and outer edges. Get those sealed up as good as possible, just because I don't want things to fall apart and just be a bad repair and things. Add the epoxy on the outside, and I'm gonna just get everything sealed up as much as possible, and then put it on the plastic and so I've got the hair dryer plugged in right there, and it